What's up? What's up, good people? I hope you guys are doing absolutely great today. It's Thursday. It's a really good day for us to have a really good conversation, a really powerful conversation, and most importantly, a really transformative conversation. What's up, Instagram? What's up, Facebook? I'm trying to be convenient and get them both going at the same time because I really wish somebody would create us an app that allows us to do both at the same time. But of course, it isn't out yet. So whoever does it, I appreciate you in advance. So guys, do me a quick favor. For those that are on Instagram, like it, share, tag somebody, because I want to talk to you guys about something like a powerful thing that I'm noticing. Not really powerful, to be honest with you guys. I'm going to talk to you how I would talk to my friends in a couple moments, and we're just going to shoot it to you regular, because what I'm noticing, what I'm seeing, what I've experienced, and what I am no longer experiencing is a lot of people who are willing and okay with shrinking their own potential, shrinking their own abilities, shrinking their own gifts and talents into a box to appease a group of people that really don't exist. And so I kind of really want to take about 10 minutes of your time tonight, like just 10 minutes, and really bust this wide open, because I tell you all this, if I haven't learned anything in my 30 years of living, I've learned that when I really stopped caring about what other people were thinking, or how my progress, or how my success, or how me doing something new or different was going to affect them, it changed everything about my life. Like, sometimes people can say that kind of stuff. Oh my God, my life has changed. No, y'all are talking to somebody whose life has literally been flipped inside out, and for the better. But it's always because I chose to be okay with not shrinking to fit the mold, the opinions, the thoughts, the logic, the perspective, whatever it may be, of people around me, or people that weren't really around me, that I acted as if were around me. Because a lot of the boxes we put ourselves in, the box doesn't really exist. It's a thing in our mind. So do me a quick favor. If that intro hits you, if that little nugget drops you, and you saying, you know what, I could really benefit from this, do me a favor. Send this to your best friend. Send this to your homegirl. Send it to your homeboy that you know is really not doing anything, that is kind of like stuck in that people bondage place. Send it to your church friend that is also working through people bondage issues. Like, just drop it to a person, okay? I'm going to do like 2 seconds of that. And then I forgot to do the customary, hey guys, let me know where you from, where you watching that situation thing, because I kind of want to jump in and really more so talk about shrinkage. So I'm gonna start, forget all that. So if you guys don't know, my name is Evan, Coach Ev, but what I do for a living, I am a personal and business coach, outside of having a graphics and website design company. And what I have experienced in my last 4 years of doing this, I have sat and I have talked with people who were absolutely amazing. When I tell you all, they were gifted, they were talented beyond measure, they had resources out the wazoo, they had all these things in place in their life that they were just kind of sitting on, but they were choosing to never really move forward with the stuff that actually made them happy. And me, I'm young, I'm kind of fiery, I'm living life. I'm one of those that is like committed to saying, you know what, if it's in front of me and I want it, I'm gonna go after it. Plain and simple. I'm not really gonna sit back and let too much time pass without me putting in the effort that I need to. And so with me talking to these people every day, y'all, it doesn't blow my mind anymore. I've adjusted to it, but every day I have the opportunity. I sit down, I talk to people who are 30, 40, 50, as old as 60, who are just now getting to a place or a space in life where they're okay with going after their dreams, their goals. They're okay with finally starting businesses. They're okay with finally start to do something outside of the norm. And some of these people were legitimately put into this box like years and years and years ago. I have a client, I hope she's not watching because this may be a little awkward, I'll leave her name out. She's in her mid-50s. And so we've kind of been working through her setting up her business that she's been doing 30 plus years for other people, but finally kind of branching out. And I was like, the question that I would always ask is, why are we just now doing this? Like, have y'all ever been doing something, or have y'all ever had something in mind that you honestly, it's been there long enough for you to pretty much be like, why haven't I done this yet? Like, why have I not? For people, this is one thing for sure with me, with the business coaching stuff. I don't understand why individuals under the age of 30 don't start businesses. Now, I get it. Everybody's not called to full-time entrepreneurship. And hear me, everybody's not designed to be a full-time entrepreneur. But a lot of us are called to really have, or designed to really have entrepreneurial endeavors already in motion, or we have the space and the capacity to have entrepreneurial endeavors. So I'm not sure, I know where potentially, but we're not going to dive into that. I don't quite connect all the way, or I'm really want to bust up that notion that everybody that's an entrepreneur has to be a full-time business owner. Because I know a lot of people who are extremely satisfied with their 9 to 5. Their 9 to 5s make them great money. They bring them great joy. They went to school for this kind of stuff. However, outside of that, there is an entrepreneurial endeavor that they can have and should have in motion. Now, I am not knocking anybody's 9 to 5 job, because I've had a couple of really good 9 to 5 jobs in my life. But let me tell you something. What I did learn and what I do know is that money that you're making, that 9 to 5, if you're not making any additional money on the outside of that, you are already screwed up. You are already in a place where it's like your life is already limited. Because what happens? For example, we got this whole pandemic COVID thing. A lot of the people that I know that were just solely dependent on their 9 to 5s, when that security blanket was pulled from up under them, they had no idea what to do. Now, of course, we got individuals who are getting government assistance and getting that extra $600 a month or a week for COVID, and I bless God for that. Do your thing. But it's like a lot of people were like emotionally and mentally and in their logic and their perspective and their careers, they were completely misplaced. They were completely and utterly automatically and quickly shifted to a place where they had no idea what to do and to navigate. Now, that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is why you watching this broadcast right now, I don't want to call names, why have you chosen to shrink to the opinions and the thoughts of other people and yourself for so long? So let me tell you my little story on shrinkage. So now, if you don't know what shrinkage is, the best example I can give you is like underneath this hat is something like a fro. Now, I've been rocking this fro situation for quite a while, and some days the fro is nice and amazing, and it's just like, yes, melanin made. Some days it's like, get back on a plantation because your head looks bad. It literally has its days. Now, today's not that day. Today we're having a really good day. But one thing that I learned about shrinkage through my own hair journey was that no matter how I pick it out, it's grown, whatever, it looks so big and it's whatever. But as soon as I put the water on it, nope, I'm not showing my head. As soon as that water hit my head, everything, all the progress, all the things that I thought were there were so great, automatically just kind of like, and I'm pretty sure you all have seen this. It's like legit. We know what shrinkage looks like. But what I'm noticing and what I've seen tremendously and consistently is that there are so many people who live their lives like that. It's like, in your mind you're big. In your heart you got something amazing. In your hands you've got something. Not forget changing the world. I know a lot of us want to change the world. I'm talking to those who actually want to change their pockets. You have something in your mind and in your hands and in your skill set that you could do to forget change the world, but you could change your pockets. And these are the things, and these are the people, and this is the moments where we do that thing, like how I mentioned, like the shrinkage, like we pick it out and it's huge, and it's like, yeah, my hair has grown so much, my hair has gotten so long. Boom. Yeah, this live will be saved. Then something hits it, and all of a sudden now all those things you thought that you saw, all that you were proud of, now all of a sudden you're looking at this kind of like, it doesn't look good. It looks matted. It looks a mess. It's not what I thought it was going to be. And that's where a lot of people are, and I'm just trying to help you guys get out of that. We got to get to a place where we can say, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna shrink back because of what I'm seeing. I'm not gonna shrink back because of what's around me or who's around me. Like I want to ask you all a question. What in the hell are you afraid of? And yes, I said it like that because listen, I'm in business because people are afraid to go after stuff. And my first question is always, what are you afraid of? And especially right now, in a day and age where we look around and nothing is stable. Like just about everything that you thought was, I know people that grew up in church that just knew that if nothing else is going to be stable and solid, their faith in their church is going to be. You can't even go in the building right now. So we're seeing that nothing really is as stable as we thought it would be. And so my question is like, now with all this going on, why would we not choose to just go for it? Am I the only one looking at this pandemic like an open playing field, a level playing ground for me to just go after stuff that I did not even really think I could naturally do at one point in time? I'm seeing people now buying houses. Like one of my best friends purchased a home. Him and his wife purchased a home today. And this is a monster. It is a monster. And you know what I said to myself? I'm glad they went for it. They really just looked around and said, you know what? All this going on, everything in this world just seems to be going crazy. I'm not going to shrink and choose to agree with what's happening around outside. I'm not going to shrink and say, you know what? What's happening outside has to affect my life. They said, no, you know what? I'm going to go from this townhome and go buy big old house in Marietta, Georgia, where they can raise their kids and live there for the rest of their life if they wanted to, because the space is there. But you know what they said? They chose not to shrink to what is happening. What I want you all to do, if nothing else, is like choose in this moment in time to stop shrinking. Like to stop shrinking your mind, to stop shrinking your gifts, to stop shrinking your talents and your abilities, especially those skills that could be profitable for you. Let me tell you something. What I've learned in business and doing the business coaching thing for a minute is that if you want to be broke, if you care about other people and what they have to say and what they may think about what you're doing or what they may think about what you're trying to build, you will stay broke. And great, you're probably saying, you know what, I'm not broke right now. Amazing. I'm glad you're not broke right now. But I promise you, if you are okay with your financial place right now, keep doing everything that you're doing. Like me, I think I do pretty good, but I am not satisfied with where I am financially right now. I want a little more. So guess what that means? I have to do a little more. I am like determined for the rest of this year to help people realize their own earning potential. But you'll never make any money being scared. You'll never make any money being timid. You know why? Because confidence is going to be the thing that makes somebody want to invest or purchase or download or book or whatever it's going to be for you. But like we got to get to a point where you say, you know what? No, I'm not going to shrink down because of the surroundings of the situations that I've been in. Let's deal with the first. So the first reason why you should never shrink, well, the first thing that we do when we often shrink is because we shrink because we're afraid of the people that we're around, what they're going to have to say about what we're doing now. Let me tell you what I've learned firsthand and what I fought my way through, and it'll never happen to me again. My success and what I go after and what I start to do is going to offend some people. That offense could be with my mom, my dad, my brother, my cousin. It's going to offend somebody. And guess what? I'm okay with knowing that somebody is not always going to agree and or support what I'm doing. But guess what? It's probably not for them. Example number one, why I won't shrink. Why would I shrink to the mindset and to the box that somebody else created that they're not even in and that they don't even have a dollar to put into what I'm doing? Why would I shrink to their mindset? Why would I shrink to their outlook and their perspective on me? Why would I shrink to their mindset, their outlook, their perspective on what God placed in front of me? Why would I shrink to the mindset and the logic and the perspective of somebody who doesn't even do what I do or understand what I do or have the courage or the desire to even ask, so what exactly do you do? Y'all realize a lot of people are not launching out, especially when it comes to the area of business, because their mama doesn't understand, their pastor, gonna skip that one. They are just not willing to go into certain lanes of life to enhance their life because of a group of people that they're looking for an applause from that legitimately is not going to understand. They're not supposed to. What that is people bondage. If you are somebody that is not willing to move forward and to jump out there and to do and to try and give whatever it is in front of you your all because of what somebody else may have to say, you, my friend, are bound by people. And you are on a fast track to not making any money. You are on a fast track to not even being successful. You're actually on a fast track towards living a very unhappy life, because a very unhappy life includes being locked into the prisons that other people have for you, or the prisons that you enrolled and signed up and joined, the prisons that they created for you. Like I am in this place right now where I really understand and I really wholeheartedly believe I live a limitless life. Like when people write the term limitless as one word, I literally see limit Capital L, capital E, capital S, capital S. Limitless. You cannot convince me, you cannot convince Evan S. Brown at this point in time in his life that there is something that I cannot do. You absolutely can. I mean, you absolutely cannot convince me that there's something that I cannot do. And if you can, I give you $100 right now. Because whatever you may say, whatever you may throw in front of me, I'm always going to be like, But where there's a will, there's a way. If I've got a will to do it, it's going to happen. Because what you can't do is stop me in my work ethic. But this is somebody who is no longer shrinking to the mindsets or no longer conforming to the logic and the perspectives of people. Let me tell you this. Now, honestly, there come a moment in time where you'll hit a roadblock where that we shrink, because it happens to us all. I'm not going to sit here and act like it never happens. We end up shrinking out of love. Now, this is a place shrinking out of love. Now, how many times have we chosen to subscribe to the narrative, the thoughts, the perspective, the logic, the advice of somebody that we loved? Let me help you. The moment you realize that love is not going to put you in a box, you'll realize that bust out that thing and go do it. I almost became that cousin preacher. Like, love is not going to put you in a box. Now, love will actually will give you good advice, and love will have you in a place or a space where it reminds you, hey, you know what? Let's think about this. Let's process through this. Let's really analyze this. Let's make an applicable plan. That's what love will tell you to do. Love will never have you in a box that you can't get out, where you feel like you're suffocating. That's not love. That's not love on any side or any form, but that's a lot of the reasons that many of us are shrinking and staying shrunken in the shrunken place is because somebody that we love told us this isn't it. Well, are you sure that this is not it? And I'm not trying to go against anybody's belief system. This is not one of those broadcasts. But I'm really wanting you to really check on the inside of you to see what's really brewing. Are you shrinking and not willing to go after certain things because somebody you love told you that, hey, you know what? This isn't it. You're not going to do well at that, or you're not going to be successful at that. That's not love. Love doesn't put you in a box. Love says, you know what? Whatever you put your mind to, you can do. Love says, whatever you go after, even if you don't succeed, if you fail, you learn the lesson in the process. That's what love teaches you. Love doesn't teach you to shrink. Love teaches you to make adjustments and do what needs to be done. But love doesn't teach you to shrink, because what happens is we'll shrink in one area, and it's like every other behavior, because behaviors do bleed. We'll start to shrink here. And the next thing you know, we're shrinking here. And so now, because we had one person not really affirm us or not believe in our business venture, and now because we shrunk there and didn't do it, now when it comes to other things in life, say promotion on our job or even possibly dating and building healthy relationships, there's no confidence. What happens when we shrink is a direct attack on your confidence. What happens when you choose to shrink is a direct attack on your confidence. I'm gonna tell you something very serious that I know I can't always go back to business because that's my sweet spot. You'll never make any money not being confident. Think about it. Think about it like this. Y'all would not give your number to somebody that approached you that was not confident. You know why? Because confidence is attractive. If somebody tried to stop you and holler at you and tried to get to know you, whatever, get your name, information, however it may happen for you, whether it's in the Chevron, whether it's in the mall, if there's no level of confidence there, I guarantee you, you're not going to bite. I guarantee you're not going to respond. You probably going to walk off and say, you know what? That could have been worth something, but I don't want nobody that doesn't have any confidence in them, right? But that's where a lot of us are. That once that confidence gets hit, that confidence is gone. And now we're in places and situations where we're not even willing to go after stuff that we really could have because our confidence was hit because we chose to shrink in one place. Like, I really want you all to see that, like, when you shrink mentally, when you shrink in your gifts and your talents, and I'm not saying there's a difference between shrink and submit, but when you shrink, you really are in a spot where it's like, damn, you really are about to start losing. And that's where I was. I remember not being willing to do stuff and to go after stuff because I didn't want to offend the people around me. Not fail. Think about it. Not fail. I didn't want to offend the people around you. I think if a lot of us start to be a whole lot more honest about really what we think, what we feel, and what we know, we'd realize that we really aren't that afraid of failure. Failure isn't really is not really the opposition for a lot of people. Now, for some people, failure is your thing. But for some of us, it's like, dang, I released this product, I made $30,000 today, and the people are based upon the people around me, that's gonna ruffle some feathers. It's not always about being afraid to fail. Sometimes it really is about the fact that you know what, success is gonna have to force me to change. That's another thing. When you shrink, you remove yourself from the ability to develop and to evolve into a new you. And there's absolutely no way you're gonna get to new levels and have new levels of success, whether it's in business, whether it's in ministry, whether it's in academics, if you're not willing to evolve and walk and embrace the new you. I'm telling you, if I would have never said, okay, you know what, evolution is happening to me, I'm growing up, I'm developing, so that means that I've got to grow up and develop and be okay with a new place and a new space and even a new perspective on who I am and what I'm supposed to do, I would not be on this live right now trying to encourage you to no longer shrink. You can't. You cannot. You cannot. I'm going to be screaming this for the rest of the year. Please do not shrink anymore. Because what happens when you shrink, you just cut yourself out. Like, you really just cut yourself out. There's no better way to say that. You just cut yourself out. What's up, Deanna? You know what? I'm going to put Deanna on blast. Deanna is somebody that I know. I met her about 2 years ago. Sweetheart, beautiful spirit, amazing, gifted and talents. But I feel like Deanna's in a process right now that is pulling her out of her comfort zone, where she's choosing, saying, you know what? I'm not going to let my wisdom, my intellect, the things that I've learned, the things that I have learned through life and through process and through experience, I'm not going to shrink back and let those just sit down somewhere. I'm not gonna just put that stuff on the shelf and just chop it up, saying, oh, you know what, that's just what it was. Because when you choose not to shrink, you'll end up doing things that bring you a whole lot of surplus. And that's not just about money. That is nowhere near but just about money. It's about a whole lot more peace, joy, clarity, understanding of why you're living, a new revelation of your purpose, and even on top of that, a whole lot more money if you really want to be honest with you. But people who choose not to shrink are the ones that we look at on Instagram. We're scrolling like, you know what, man, she's doing it. She killing it. He's doing it. This is amazing. They're doing this. They're doing that. Those are people that says, you know what, forget anything going on around me. I'm not going to shrink. I am not going to be okay with living a life bare minimum. I'm not going to be okay with not doing what's in my heart and what I know I should be doing. I'm not going to be okay with that. Like, at some point, you got to come out of agreement. You got to disconnect from being subpar. You got to disconnect from being okay with settling. I'll tell you this. If you say, you know what? Oh, I love you, Deanna. I'll tell you this, if you hear me, if nothing else, if you choose not to settle, your life will absolutely change. A lot of us have settled for jobs, situations, people, community, family, friends, church. We have just settled. And it's like, why did you really settle? Was it worth it? It wasn't. It got you absolutely nowhere. And really what you thought was settling, it was, in addition to settling, you were actually shrinking. So now you're not really doing anything. I tell y'all, this behaviors absolutely bleed. And the big issue, the big thing that makes me get a little offended and be ready to jump on in is when I see people who shrink because they're afraid of what's in front of them. It looks super big. It's like, this is bigger than me. And the result or the answer to you saying, you know what, this is a tremendous opportunity. It's going to take a whole lot of work from me. It's going to take me doing something I never thought I would do. And some of our answers is usually to, I'm not going to do it. Like, why did you choose to shrink? Because something appeared to be a little bit bigger than what you thought you could handle? And so your answer was shrink? Why isn't our first instinct to get help, not to say I'm not going to do it? Like, I'm a church kid. I grew up in church. I'm in church now. And I talk to believers all the time who serve a really big God with unlimited resources. If you want to hear scripture, he has cattle on 1,000 hills. Like, it's literally is what it says. And we are some of the first people that when things get a little interesting or when things present themselves in front of us, we're like, shrink, get help. What do? We shrink. And I'll be looking at that like, why are we shrinking? Like, who said shrinking was the best option? Who even told us that shrinking was an option? When you get to a real point in life where you are putting the demand on your own success and demand on your own potential, you really kind of have to psych yourself out and say, you know what, I'm gonna do it scared. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. Flat out, I am just gonna do it, because what I have to tell myself just about every day is that I'm not gonna shrink. I'm having a bad day, I'm not gonna shrink. I don't feel supported, I'm not gonna shrink. I don't know where my customers and clients are gonna come from, but I'm still not gonna shrink. I have to remind myself sometimes I am not going to allow the people around me that I know, and even some that I don't know, to cause me to shrink. Yeah, I am. People, it used to really make me uncomfortable when people would say things, oh, you Mr. Vision Birther. No, people are like, you're Coach Ev. I am Coach Ev. So I'm not gonna shrink. I have chosen this year to say, you know what, I'm never going to shrink again. Why would I do that? What for what? Because in my mind, the fact that you're acknowledging me is that you might need what I have. I'm just not gonna shrink. I'm not gonna shrink. I had a consultation or a strategy session with a guy today, and he started saying some stuff, some church terms that I really wasn't trying to hear. And I was like, that ain't me. And like maybe 5 minutes after our strategy session ended, I felt so convicted I had to text him and say, okay, I know you invited me to be a part of something. I told you no instantly because I'm like, that's not me, or that's not me anymore. And you know what? I scratched that. If you believe the Lord has told you to do that, yes, I'll be a part. Just send me the information. Because I had to remind myself again in that moment, I'm not going to shrink. I'm not going to shrink back into what I feel is comfortable. I forget the boxes that everybody else has created or could potentially create for me. I'm not going to shrink to what I feel like is comfortable, because what I feel like is comfortable is probably subpar for me, for my life, for my calling, for my purpose, for what I'm supposed to do. It's probably going to be subpar. So why would I shrink to my own subpar? Why? So listen, I don't know if this helped you, but I hope it did. And I promise you this, I asked you this, what are you afraid of? You got to get to a point, into a place where you're saying, you know what, I'm not going to shrink for anyone, especially not myself. Because one thing's for certain, hey, Julia, one thing is for certain, that those that continue to shrink, I guarantee you in about 10 years of doing that, you're going to be looking up saying, you know what, my life is in shambles. My life is not what I wanted it to be. And I don't even know how I got here. Well, I can tell you how you got there. 10 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, you chose to shrink and not to believe in yourself and not to be okay with going out there, even if you're on your own. And so it caused you to go down a downward spiral. What I say? Behaviors bleed. Shrinking is a behavior, because it's not just mentally, it's physically. I see people all the time. Like, one of the things I learned in one of my courses is that body language tells everything. I sit in sessions with people and they start off like this. Like hunched in, like real close, like they're holding themselves. They're trying to kind of hold themselves together. And it's like, it's not a spiritual hold themselves together. It's like they're not comfortable. They're not confident. A confident man or a woman will sit there with their chest, with their head held high, their chest out, and they're going to be like, hey, what you got for me? What do you have to say to me? What are we doing today? That's what confidence looks like. But I promise you, when we start to shrink outside of just the mental thing, the mental component that we have, that happens on us, we really even start to do that stuff kind of physically. I promise you, a lot of the people who are walking around kind of with the shrink life, they probably have a lot of back issues and back problems because they're kind of hunched over, because they're trying to protect themselves in a way. It's like, who are you protecting yourself from? You? Don't shrink. Be as big as you're supposed to be. Be as big as you are designed to be. I am walking through myself again this year, just saying, you know what, Evan, you probably are a big deal. People tell me all the time in years past, oh, you're a big deal. And I'm like, yo, I think I'm invisible. Because for a long time, I really thought I was invisible. I would walk in church services and sit in the back, in the corner. And then before the service ends, some way, some shape, form, or fashion, something has happened to me. And I'm like, how did you even see me? Some of us can't hide. Some of us have no choice but to not shrink because the world needs you. And then some of us, we can't shrink because our communities need us. Like forget the world stage. We got work to do at home. Some of us can't shrink because our families need us. They're waiting on us. But like you can't do it. You just can't do it. It's too much on the line. It's too much on the line. And I'm not talking about prosperity and money. I'm just talking about it's just too much on the line and mentally. Too much peace, too much joy, too much clarity. It's on the line. But why would I, like, if you're shrunk or even in a shrunken place, of course you're gonna be afraid of everything that comes in front of you. Because you've shrunk back. You've shrunk so much that it's become your go-to. It's become like your automatic response or reply to shrink. And it's like you don't have to live that life. You don't have to live that life. I promise you your life will be better if you don't live that life. There is nothing beneficial that's going to happen for you while you are staying in that place or in this space, hey, where I'm okay with shrinking. I promise you, you're going to be there. And in 10 years, you're going to say, what has happened to me? Who am I? Who is this guy? Who is this girl? I shrunk here in one area. Now I'm married to somebody that I shouldn't have been married to. Like all these different things. I'm working at a job that I absolutely hate, that I'm bigger than, I'm more skilled than, but you know what? You don't even have the confidence or the courage to apply for something else. You shrunk so much to the point where you're afraid to even look. You will look at another job at another company, but you don't even have the courage to apply. Because in your mind, you shrunk down so much, all you think, safety. Safety, 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 safety. And let me tell you something about this life on this side. You're never gonna win always playing it safe. Now, there's a way to be calculated. There's a way to be intentional. I'm all for that. But you gotta come out of playing it safe. And you definitely gotta come out of playing it safe and blaming and saying you waiting on God. That ain't it. At all. It's not that at all. So I pray that you all have heard this and feel convicted enough to say, you know what? I'm not going to shrink. I'm not going to shrink back. I am not going to shrink down. I am not going to conform to what I consider to be safety and what I consider to be comfort, because all of that is a death trap. Say this with me, class. My comfort zone is a death trap. Matter of fact, put it in the comments. My comfort zone is a death trap, because you'll get there, you'll sit there, and you'll stay there, and nothing will come from you. You'll produce nothing. You'll never evolve the way you could have. You'll never progress the way you could have, all because you chose to sit in that death trap called your comfort zone. Yeah. I think that that's pretty much the extent of what I have to say to you guys today. Your comfort zone is a death trap. Don't stay there. I promise you, it's really small. It's actually very uncomfortable. What you think is comfortable is actually it's so tight knit that you don't even realize you're trapped. Like that's the realness about your comfort zone. You're so comfortable, you don't even realize you're trapped. I mean, you trapped, tied up, tangled up, tied down, and it looks okay. It makes sense, but you don't realize, you trapped. You trapped in your body, you trapped in your mind, you trapped in your money, you're trapped in your ability to dream and to think and to be, you're trapped. And who wants to live a life trapped? So listen, I pray this helped you guys. If you want to further connect with me, shoot me a DM. I would love to chat with you guys to help you get further out of your comfort zone. If I don't do anything else, I push people clean out of their comfort zone, because ain't no money there. If nothing else, ain't no money in your comfort zone. I know, because I was in my comfort zone for long enough and I realized that this is okay, but this is definitely not the end. So listen, I pray this helped you. Again, if you do want to connect with me, shoot me a message, follow me on Instagram, DM me. If you want to know more about what I do, go to my website, www.coachev.com. I am a professional, personal, and business coach. So if you're looking to make some changes and to make some moves, to create some stuff, to launch some stuff, I'm definitely your guy. Confidently. I have a 100% success rate, because I tell my clients all the time, I am not going to let you mess up my success rate. So when you get here, whether you want to do it crying, kicking, screaming, you are going to do it. And if you don't believe me, quite a few of my clients are on here. People that I've worked with in the past, whether consulted with or walked through in the early stages of their process or helped them rebrand or redirect. They're on both of these lives. And I appreciate that. The fact that they would even jump on and hear more of what I had to say. So listen, all that being said, definitely follow me, definitely connect with me. And what I say, your comfort zone is a death trap. Stay there. You ain't never gonna go anywhere. I went to an amazing institution that told me something so powerful, so profound, it'll never leave me. Start here, go anywhere. And I promise you, if you make that your personal motto, make that your personal declaration, start here, go anywhere, it'll help you actually shoot for the stars. I'm telling you, your comfort zone is a death trap and you don't want to be there. So listen, I love you guys. Thank y'all for jumping on. Send this to your friend. Like before you go to bed, send this to your friend. Send this to your homegirl. Send it to your homeboy that you know is really in a place where they're kind of like letting life trap them. And they're bigger than that. They're way bigger than that. They just need a little encouragement, a little push. I promise you, this will help them because this helped me. I needed to hear it myself. And my comfort zone is definitely a death trap. So let me tell you what I got to do. I've got to get out of here and get out of my comfort zone, whatever I'm trying to stay, and make some things happen. So listen, I look forward to making some things happen. I look forward to you guys being a part of whatever it is I'm making happen out here. But just remember this, your comfort zone is a death trap. Don't shrink anymore. Ain't no money there. I love you guys. Have an amazing night. Go watch something great. Enjoy yourself. Have an amazing weekend.